What up, everybody? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories, UFO legend, and paranormal lore. Welcome back. Yeah, we're pissed. I brought my boys here to back me up. A little rage coming at you. So why are we pissed off? You should be pissed off. Everybody should be pissed off, right? Why should we be pissed off? Because we're being lied to consistently about this drone situation, which is really alien ship, which is really Project Bluebeam, which is really anything you want to think of. It could possibly be, right? So let me ask you a question: why are they not being truthful? Why are they not allowing people to shoot these things down? Why is the FBI going after people shooting these things down when they've stated time and time again they don't know what they are, and they are not ours and they are not theirs? So if that's true, if they're not ours and they're not theirs, then we should be able to shoot these things down, right? Just like if an animal was coming around to attack your family, if these things are hovering around your house, you should be able to shoot them down without repercussion, because the government doesn't know what they are. Okay, right? That's what I'm saying. So let's go ahead, and I want to talk about the potential for it to be Project Bluebeam. I want to talk about the potential for it to be aliens. I want to talk about the potential for this to be really like a civil war, civil riots, civil unrest, and martial law, like it was just declared last week in South Korea. Because this stuff is happening worldwide, and easily they could declare martial law if people are going out and shooting things out of the sky that they're not supposed to be doing, right? So I want you to listen in to the president of the borough of Staten Island and how he feels about it. And he did a press conference yesterday about it. So I want you to hear about what he has to say. So let's listen.
What if there were 3,000 reports of drones or manned aircraft sightings over the U.S. Capitol or the White House or the State House in Albany? What would happen? There would be an immediate and intense response to figure out what they were and to solve the problem. And yet, millions of people around here, New Jersey, of course, here in Staten Island, and beyond, are getting nothing but don't believe what you see. There's a saying that we had after 9/11: if you see something, say something. I think that's become, if you see something, don't worry about it, because we saw it too.
Yep.
And the people of Staten Island deserve answers. The people of this city and state and region deserve answers of what the heck is going on. Just last night in my neighborhood, my neighbor sent a video of whatever it is flying over our house. And yet we're told, don't believe what you see.
Now, see, I totally agree with him, and he brought up a really interesting point. Since 9/11, we're supposed to say something if we see something. Well, what if these were crafts going to go flying into New York City? I mean, we had that happen already with the Twin Towers. Why isn't the government more concerned about this? We know the answer. It's either them or it's the aliens. Let's keep listening.
It's shocking to us that here we are almost a month later, 3,000 sightings, drones, manned aircraft, and our folks don't have an answer. We're calling upon not just the New York City Police Department, but others to get involved, get aggressive, figure out what these things are, and help at least alleviate some of the frustration, anxiety that many people share. This is 2024. They're either lying or they're incompetent or they're both. How can we, the United States of America, have this going on and we're told just look the other way? Ignore it. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
We know for a fact that there may be some who are, performing some type of surveillance. Well, let's be honest with the American people and treat them like adults and tell them what it is.
Exactly. And that's the end. So in the comment section, it's unbelievable. People are like saying this government is not our friend. The gaslighting is insane. Where's Anonymous when you need them? This is Project Bluebeam. It's our own government. Don't look up. Referring to the movie. there's just so many people that have their own ideas on this, but you got to look at it, objectively and say, hey, for years and years and years, decades upon decades, they said the government insiders said that there was going to be a Project Bluebeam where they were going to stage a false alien invasion. They were going to cause us to become aggressive towards the aliens and want to go to war with them. Well, what's interesting is, why hasn't the Air Force gotten involved in this? Why hasn't the Space Force gotten involved in this? Why hasn't anybody gotten involved in this? That's the real question. So they're really staging a lot of this, and there's been footage of one of these drones firing upon some entity on the ground. There's actual footage of a drone in the sky shooting at the ground. That's insane to me. I mean, whether that's legitimate, from the recent 3 weeks, 4 weeks of the past drone footage, or if it's from before. But I think I haven't seen it before, so I think it's from now.
It's in Memphis.
But this is really interesting too. Memphis has lights blinking everywhere and no internet in some parts of their town, and this is directly related to the drone issue. So they were saying, many people were saying, has anyone else seen cars lights blinking in parking lots? Other people have said, I just saw a post of a lady showing a whole parking lot of cars with lights going off but no alarms, which is interesting. People who have stated that they've flown drones up towards these other drones, their own personal drones, flying them up there, they've been electrically disconnected, that their power went out and they fell to the ground. This is really bizarre. This is what they're calling technological warfare, and I just want to play this video real quick. This is crazy. So like this whole area, I'm just gonna turn on the volume, is having blinking lights going on everywhere. I mean, that's really bizarre, and that's going on in Tennessee. We have another News Nation anchor talking about what he saw was 50 plus drones, and he said if this is not the military, it's even more terrifying. Like, I mean, he's actually engaged with it. He actually saw it. And this was one day ago. So let's play this here.
In fact, there's one right over my shoulder, right there.
I got reports that there were drones actively happening in Monmouth County. So I raced up to Monmouth County and pulled off near Red Bank. And sure enough, I looked up in the sky in the town and saw one. So I followed it to a residential area and got out of my car, took out my iPhone, and started filming it. I can't believe I'm seeing this.
So he's got a drone. He's got a drone that's got red and green lights on it. Doesn't look like a plane. I'm very familiar, growing up, to one of the busiest airports in the world, of what planes look like. So it doesn't look like a plane. We'll keep playing it here. Come on.
About 150 feet overhead. At that point, I said, look, my iPhone's not capturing this. I called my photographer, who was about half an hour behind. I said, get up here with your camera right now. He came and met me, and for the next 2 hours, we traveled to various spots around Monmouth County, and I believe we saw over 50 of these drones. And I gotta say, if this is not the military, it's even more terrifying. These things they look like they're fixed wing, and they have multiple lights. There's a red light on some of them. There's a green light. Then there's easily 3 white blinking lights. They go at the usual cadence. We tried to chase one, and it rapidly sped off. I'm not really sure how to process what we all saw last night. Both Nick and I my cameraman were kind of stunned by the whole experience.
And these are older guys that have been around the block, and they've seen lots of different craft. I'm looking at these craft, and one of the craziest craft that I've seen so far looks like a TIE fighter from the Star Wars, or like the flying bat craft that they use in like Batman, right? Where it looks like a bat flying in the air. And that's one of the drones that we've seen. We've seen all kinds of different drones in the past 4 weeks. We've seen, like I've said, the Batman type drone. We've seen what look to be like airplanes, and you got to assume they're like airplanes. But then you have these other craft that have like multiple white lights on them. You know, standard airplanes have a red and green light, and sometimes they'll have like a front light to them as well. But generally speaking, you know, you're gonna have the red and green light and the white light in front, not three white lights. But again, they're not all airplane fixed wing type things. I mean, some of them are circles. Some of them have circles that have like things rotating around the circles, almost looking like it's a gyroscope. Um, Others, you know, look like just boxes. I saw one that looked like a black box with red lights going up and down, back and forth. So it would go down, it would go back, and the red light would go up and down this black box, and then it would have a green light that would go up and down the black box. It was like a rectangle, and it just made me think of like those boxes that Ryan Graves, the pilot for the Navy, talked about, who came out in the UFO congressional hearing with Grush, and he talked about seeing these black boxes inside of these translucent circles up in the air, and it just makes you wonder, hey man, if some of these come down to a lower height for people to be able to see, that's just one idea out of many. I want to pull up something else here. It is interesting too because Congressman Jeff Van Drew, who talked about the fact that these things were coming out of Iran once, came out again and doubled down on it. I want you to listen in to him here. Let me pull this up here.
To speak to you directly about a situation that demands our attention. It's a matter of transparency and public safety, and as your congressman, I believe you need to know the facts. Let me start by saying this. I'm not here to alarm anyone. Fear has no place in responsible leadership. But I am here to be honest with you, as I always have been. The information I have shared recently comes from high-level, credible sources, people with expertise and clearance to assess real threats. When I was made aware of this, I had two choices. I could stay silent out of fear, or share what I know so that we can address this together. If I stayed quiet and something happened, I would never be able to forgive myself. Here is what we know. Drones are flying to the United States airspace, coming in and out of international waters. This fact alone demands our attention, and we must investigate it no matter what. But these drones are also deliberately avoiding our radar and operating in uncontrolled airspace, indicating they are being expertly piloted. We know there's an Iranian drone ship that went missing from its port, and the timing of its disappearance is circumstantially consistent with the beginning of the appearance of these drones. These drones are reportedly the size of minivans. This is not the work of a backyard hobbyist. We know it is not a commercial entity. So we are only left with two possibilities. Either it is our government or it is a foreign adversary. Yet the government has repeatedly said time and time again that these are not their drones. So we only are left with one option to believe. It's been almost a month, almost a full month since this started, and we're still being told everything is fine, even as officials admit they don't know exactly what these drones are.
So I'm gonna pause it there for a second. He's echoing exactly what the president of the borough of Staten Island stated, was that these officials, these elected officials, are not being told by the government what the hell is going on. And if the government doesn't know what's going on, they should be out there shooting these things down. They're not out there shooting these things down, which means one thing: they're afraid of what's going to happen if they do shoot them down. And that's it. That's it. That's it. And if that's the case, then they have to be alien. We have to use our logic here. They either are ours or they're an adversary, which we've kind of ruled out in the fact that no one stepped up and said that they're theirs. No one has shot them down, and that's it. That's all you need to know. If the government's not attacking these things in our airspace, then you have to know that they're doing it for a reason. They're letting whoever wants to come in and is using these drones to come in and do it. That's it. Bottom line. They're either in cahoots or we were overpowered, which we're not overpowered. And they're not telling us what they are. So at this point, at this stage of the game, the government's not telling us what they know. And at this stage of the game, they should know. So we should be fighting back. We should be saying, hey, you guys are there because we elected you. You guys need to tell us what the fuck's going on. And if your military, generals can't get the job done, fire them and get new ones that can tell you what exactly is happening. The DOD should be able to tell the Joint Chiefs of Staff should be able to tell the president, and the president should be able to tell us. The Congress people should be able to be in on this as well to make a decision on whether or not we go to war or not. So there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect, and we have a commander in chief that's not taking his job seriously, and should be going up there and saying, hey, we're firing all these guys. But he's on his way out. He's asleep at the wheel, and it's not that I don't like or do like him at all. It's the fact of the matter is what's going on here. Many people are saying, hey, there's nobody's helping us here. Nobody's giving us information. Sorry, I'm gonna go down here. Come on, block this, close this. I wanted to get another video pulled up because this is so wild, and what people in New Jersey are also saying, this is crazy, is that they're hearing these strange sounds on their radio. Check this out. So they're hearing these mystery sounds on the radio while they're driving around. Check this shit out here. Listen to this real close. That's a station, 106.7, the Soft Rock, New York's Christmas station. And that's what's being played through the radio. So when people are talking about like their cars being, that the lights are being turned on and off, the internet's going in and out, electricity's on and off, it's sketchy and spotty. We have so many other things going on other than just the drones that lend itself to kind of like an alien invasion going on, kind of like it could be a blue beam project, right? It could be blue beam. So, I mean, in my mind right now at this very moment, it's two things. It's either blue beam, government's initiating a call to arms for us to be pissed off at the aliens and staging an alien invasion, or it is a true alien invasion. and by invasion I mean they're invading with their spaceships and just taking over our skies. The government's doing jack shit about it. This one is really cool. This is the one I was talking about with the black box, and I wish I've never seen something that looks like this. I will take a snapshot of this.
It looks like one of those deep sea jellyfish with the lights in.
It is the craziest shit ever, man, and it is not a drone. I'll try to take a screenshot and use that for the thumbnail, but it's that black rectangle I was talking about. It's so bizarre. Some people are saying, why would UFOs need running lights? Well, we don't know what UFOs need, so that's kind of, that statement doesn't really make any sense. It looks like a floating fridge. I totally agree. I don't believe anyone until all work stops, otherwise it's just distraction. There's just so many things that people could say about, anything that they're seeing, but the fact of the matter is that people are seeing this stuff and we're not getting any answers. So at this point, even Louis Elizondo was getting interviewed and he said, we're in imminent danger. And he said, there's no shortcut around it. We need to start talking soon. We need to start talking now. And I'll play this little mini clip for you here.
There's no way around it. There's no shortcut. Wow.
Keep in mind, this is Louis Elizondo, who was head of Aero, and who was responsible for getting UFO reports in. Okay, so just this is just 60 seconds here. I'm gonna play this.
There's no way around it. There's no shortcut. Wow. The word imminent, you know, you write, actually in the forward of the book, you say, this is not meant that there's, you know, some sort of imminent threat necessarily. But I'm not gonna lie, when I spend time with you, we've spent a decent amount of time together, I get the sense that you're sitting on things that feel like very hard truths. It feels like your existence, like you want to say more, and you feel like you're holding it together, and that's a tough spot to be in. And so, to the extent you can talk about what might be imminent, what is imminent?
Time is not a luxury that we can afford.
Time is not a luxury we can afford.
The time has come. We need to start having the conversation collectively. We should have had it a while ago, but we really need to. We really need to start having the conversation.
I can't think.
See, I mean, he looks terrified at that point. He's like, dude, I wish I could say something. I can't because they'll kill me or whatever the case is. But that's the feeling I get when I'm watching him. And, you know, people in the comments section, they're talking about, is this why all the billionaires have built underground bunkers? Yeah, probably. They probably know a little bit more than we do, that's for sure. Especially if they're able, you know, the billionaires like, you know, Mark Zuckerberg or anybody that works for Google, you know, it's Sergey Page and all those guys, you know, that have more knowledge about all the search engine stuff and about all the, you know, deep military information, or not even military information, but just deep information that comes from the internet that they can glean because they own the search bars, that they know what's going on, they know what's going to happen because there's an uptick in searches, right? You can tell humanity's next move because of the uptick in searches, the trends that are trending on Google or on TikTok or on Twitter X. So I'm pissed. I'm frustrated. I've been sitting on this for 30 years, and we've just been sitting back, letting the government just tell us that we're a bunch of fools. Now we have a bunch of drones in the air, and they're still telling us we're a bunch of fools, that they don't even know what's going on. Really? And that's what we expected, that they don't know what's going on? If they don't know what's going on, they need to fly their asses up there and find out what the fuck is going on so that we can have an understanding and we can feel a little bit more secure in our life. Because guess what? If we don't feel secure in our life, we stop paying taxes. We stop paying our bills. We stop going to work. We start rioting. We start having problems. That's humanity's history. That's what's happened in the past. I'm not saying that that's, you know, the right thing to do or encouraging anybody to do that, but I'm saying that that's what ends up happening. That's what people are even talking about in the podcast, in the comments section. All these things. They're like, when do we stop paying bills? When do we stop paying the government? That's the general sentiment of so many people, and it's at the point where you have these high elected officials now coming out and saying the government's not being truthful with us. At what point do we say enough with this government? Toss them all out. Well, you got Trump coming in. He's coming in a month, and he's going to toss out a good majority of people anyway. But does the president, no matter who it is, have the capability to obtain the knowledge that's necessary for what they need to do, for the information they need to get out? Most presidents have been told it's not your responsibility. You don't have a need to know, and that's really it. So, sorry. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just a guy. I'm just thinking out loud, but I'm frustrated just like everybody else is, and we want the truth. We demand the truth. We're the ones paying you guys. We're the ones that elected you guys into office. And if you think that you get to hold information over us, fuck you. We're going to kick you out of office and get somebody in there that can tell us the truth, like Tim Burchett or Representative Luna, who actually has real power and real investigation and real investigative techniques and wants to tell us the truth, wants to get to the truth. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I got to go. I got to jump. Dogs are freaking out. Who knows? Maybe there's a drone over the house. But take care of yourselves, man, spiritually, physically, emotionally. We'll keep up on this and keep talking about it until we find out what the fuck's going on. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Peace, light, and love. Lifetime Universe out.